Matt, the Los Angeles Rams are going to send Jared Verse, a two-time Pro Bowl edge, to the Cleveland Browns in exchange for Miles Garrett. The trade will involve other draft pick compensation.
Miles Garrett just set the NFL's all-time single-season sack record. Now he's a Ram. The trade that just broke the internet has transformed Los Angeles from playoff hopeful into the most dominant pass rush threat in football. And with Super Bowl 61 coming to SoFi Stadium this February, the Rams aren't just favorites. They're in a league of their own. This one move has rewritten the championship equation. The Rams' relentless pursuit of Garrett is the stuff of legend.
How did we end up with Miles Garrett sitting between Sean and I? How we can add to the defense. That started with the trade with Trent McDuffie, adding Jalen in Miles' case.
While 30 other franchises accepted that he was untouchable, Los Angeles kept calling. The only team unwilling to take no for an answer. That persistence paid off in a way that shocked the entire league. Cleveland's capitulation is stunning when you remember what their GM Andrew Berry said at the league meetings in late March. Miles is a career Brown. He is one of the faces of our organization. 3 months later, Garrett was in LA.
Miles Garrett, he's a foundational player, Hall of Fame worthy, and a homegrown talent that's been here for the decades. And, our intent was to have him be a one-helmet player for his career.
That's not just eating your words, that's swallowing them whole. Here's what changed Cleveland's mind. The Rams send over Jared Verse, a two-time Pro Bowl pass rusher, plus a first-round pick in 2027, a second-round pick in 2028, and a third-rounder in 2029. On paper, that looks like highway robbery in Cleveland's favor. Among the 274 edge defenders who logged at least 250 pass rushing snaps between 2006 and 2025, Verse ranks 10th in pass rushing grade at 87.7, just one spot behind Garrett's 88.0. His 188 pressures across his first 2 seasons rank first among edge rushers in that cohort. Verse is legitimately elite, but he is not Garrett. What the Rams are getting is pure dominance. Garrett's PFF pass rush grade of 93.3 ranked first among 115 qualified edge defenders. He generated 84 total pressures, 25 sacks, 45 hurries, 14 hits. But the raw numbers miss the real story. Teams were literally scheming their entire offense around him. He was chipped on 26.07% of his snaps in 2025. The second highest rate in the league, behind only TJ Watt. He was double-teamed on 59.06% of his pass rushing snaps. The second highest mark, behind only Eric Armstead. Defensive coordinators were terrified. This trade has no modern precedent. Garrett just won Defensive Player of the Year for the second time in 3 years. He's the highest-paid non-quarterback in NFL history. And Cleveland just handed him to a team hosting the Super Bowl. The moment this broke, the entire NFL landscape shifted. Adding Garrett makes the Rams the most formidable team in football on paper. And that's mathematical reality, not hype. You don't trade away the league's most dominant pass rusher unless you're rebuilding. You don't acquire him unless you're going all in for a championship. After seeing the Browns give up that haul for Garrett, do you think Cleveland got enough value back? Or did LA steal the best defensive player in football? Drop your answer in the comments below. But here's what makes this trade even more insane for the Rams' championship odds. The Garrett trade pushed the Rams' Super Bowl odds from plus 800 to plus 650, then further to plus 600. Well ahead of the second tier, consisting of the Baltimore Ravens and Buffalo Bills at 10-1, as well as the reigning champion Seattle Seahawks at 11-1. That's not just improvement, that's separation. When you move the needle that dramatically in Vegas, you're not just adding talent, you're fundamentally changing the equation. And here's what makes this absolutely bonkers. They were already the betting favorites to win the Super Bowl thanks to the NFL's deepest roster, which features the league's reigning MVP, Matthew Stafford, and its leader in receptions, Puka Nacua, and receiving touchdowns, Davante Adams. The Rams already had the most complete team in football, and they just added the most dominant pass rusher alive. This isn't plugging a hole. This is turning a strength into an unstoppable force. The numbers tell the story of what opposing quarterbacks are about to face. Garrett's arrival would add approximately 15.5 sacks to LA's existing pass rush production, parking the team at 62 sacks, just behind the Denver Broncos league-leading 68. But that's just raw production. The real terror is what happens when you put Garrett on the same field as the Rams' existing pass rush threats. Offensive coordinators were already scheming around individual rushers. Now they have to account for multiple elite threats coming from every angle. Odds makers clearly believe Garrett gives Los Angeles something it has lacked since Aaron Donald's retirement: a defensive player capable of taking over a playoff game on his own. That's the missing piece. The Rams had the offense, they had the depth, they had the coaching. But they needed that one player who could single-handedly wreck a game plan. Garrett is that player. He's the guy who makes offensive coordinators wake up in cold sweats, the player who forces teams to completely restructure their approach. The immediate impact is already showing up in ways that should terrify the rest of the NFC. Rarely are defensive players worth actual points to the spread. But Garrett's arrival moved LA from minus 2.5 to as high as minus 3.5 for Week 1 versus the 49ers. When was the last time you saw a single defensive player move a line by a full point? That doesn't happen unless Vegas believes you've fundamentally altered the competitive balance. Super Bowl 61 will be played on Sunday, February 14th at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. The Rams aren't just building a championship team, they're building it for a home Super Bowl. By trading for Miles Garrett, the Rams made it clear that the focus is winning another championship with Matthew Stafford in 2026. This isn't about building for the future. This is about maximizing a championship window that's wide open right now. The Rams have turned themselves into the most complete team in football, and with Garrett anchoring a defense that can now match their elite offense, they're not just Super Bowl contenders, they're the team everyone else is chasing. When you're getting plus 600 odds on a team hosting the Super Bowl with this much talent, that's not a bet. That's a mathematical inevitability waiting to happen. Subscribe for more blockbuster NFL trade breakdowns and check out this video next. It breaks down the biggest trades that changed everything.